Development and Revitalisation. From the National Department, we've started a process of working on a concept document that has been shared. Again, if you don't have it, you can get it from Naledi, we can email it to you. It's open for comment. The document is not perfect, it has good things, it has bad things, but you're welcome to still comment on the concept document. That document will be turned into a policy document. And we are talking to all the different provinces to find out what they are doing. We had a national session in June with all the government departments and other role players, and the Free State wasn't there. So we said we can't proceed with the document without getting input from the Free State. So our first provincial consultation is here in the Free State, so that we can find out from you what are you doing in your townships, what is working, what's not working, and we get you on board and incorporate it into the concept document and the policy document. So the document we're sharing, it's not cast in stone, it's still open for inputs, open for discussion, and it will be converted to a policy document that will still go through a consultation process. So please, this is your chance to participate and contribute into that document. And today, the first part of today, is hearing from you as the province, as the metro, as representative organizations, as SMMEs. Tomorrow then, we are going...
My name is Botshabelo and I'm from SALGA, the South African Local Government Association, and I'm responsible for economic development. So we are in the business of supporting SMMEs through our small business development support. We work mostly with councillors from our municipalities as well as the technocrats. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kiriboni Masweu, currently working for the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs here in the Free State. I work as a LED officer, whereby I assist the municipalities in the Free State to develop their local economic development strategies, as well as to assist them to establish their business forums. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Christine Prinster. I also work for COCTA with Kiriboni. We are responsible for local economic development in the Free State. How we get involved in Township Economies is through the support and the monitoring that we do with municipalities on local economic development.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bonnie Dolly. I'm an intern at COCTA in the Free State. We are working with the municipalities and also the districts within the LED.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mipone Mohono from Distia. I work in the enterprise development and support. We work with people who want to start businesses or who are already in business. We offer financial and non-financial support. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Laruna Tsikwe. I represent Muteo TVET College, Center for Entrepreneurship and Rapid Incubator, in short, the same space you are in right now, but just in bloom. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emmanuel. Name is Mutai. I'm an entrepreneur in Botshabelo. I'm the founder and CEO of Botshabelo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leah Kachafta. I represent NAFCOC and of course NAFCOC Botshabelo local, and also an entrepreneur providing skills development, both accredited and non-accredited. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tsebo Matsawa. I'm the provincial chairperson of NAFCOC in the Free State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Khotsomawale. I'm also from NAFCOC, but I'm representing a sector called ACHIP. ACHIP is an African Chamber of Workers and Informal Businesses. I'm also the chairperson of that sector in the province.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lulane Ramabodu from DSBD under SBD. We're dealing with small business, starting a business. We support financial and non-financial support. We also give a mentorship to other businesses. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sawanda Mahalali. I'm the CEO and the owner of security company by the name of the Unique Favor Security Services. I'm providing security protection in schools here in Botshabelo, and I'm also protecting this building hub. This is my company that is protecting here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Odette. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to the online, colleagues. My name is Khabele. His name is Mule. I am the hub manager, and we are your proud hosts for the day. We usually refer to ourselves as, a platform for innovation. We're here to offer support to SMMEs that operate mainly in the ICT space. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Akona Pitsane, and I am from the DSTIA, and I'm responsible for sector development. We provide support to SMMEs that are in all the sectors, identified sectors of the economy. Thank you.
Give them a round. We've got a lot. We're just doing introductions. Right, thank you. Please start.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Sidire Mugai. I am the Training and Skills Development Facilitator here at the Hub. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sylvia Mavusala. I am from the Department of Small Business, from the unit called SMME Policy and Development. We are the ones that are interested with this work of coming up with the township policy. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Grace Tu. I'm from DSTIA under Industrial Development. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ameloriani from FTC Marketing. What does FTC stand for? Development Corporation.
Good morning, all. I am Tsepo Lebaya. I also hail from the Department of Small Business Development under the same unit as Sylvia, which is SME Policy as well as Oversight. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tato Kwasi. I'm from Manao Municipality, responsible for SMMEs. Thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kananero Mashoko, an entrepreneur based here in Botshabelo, the founder of Kanikiri Sound.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kiara Johatere. I'm an entrepreneur in Tabancho. I'm founder of KB's Cookies. Thank you.
Tore Mshade, Juna, Sanbonani, Wall, Water. My name is Palo Diselwa Chabili. from the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environmental Affairs. I'm the Head of Research and Technology Development, Research, Technology and Innovation Services. And we are dealing with applied, adaptive as evaluation research in all spatial spaces, urban, peri-urban, rural, as well as townships. Thank you so much.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is George Magiba. I'm from the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environmental Affairs. I know these dear people say, hey, but you know. Yeah, I'm the head of our Rural Directorate in the department. We're dealing with the livelihood of the rural space, people and farmers. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Isaac Msimanga. I represent a company called Vugani Solutions. We are operating from here, Botshabelo Digital Hub. We are into training and development space. We specialize mostly in ICT and other business development services. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Kolisa Mutabo. I'm from the Department of Small Business Development under the unit called Regional and Local Economic Development and Coordination. We are working closely with the district and the local municipalities on the development and the review of LED strategies and IDPs. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jandat Matela. I'm coming from Bloemfontein. The name of my company is JB Matela Bloemkool Freight Shop. We are dealing with towing cars and repairs of the cars.
Thank you. I'm Elise Kukemood. I'm from the Department of Small Business Development. We're from the branch dealing with entrepreneurship, enterprise development and innovation. And we are here to listen to you today.
Thank you. My name is Debo Hos. My name is Uwepe from this year. And then there's a unit called Consumer Education. The reason we're here is just to try to talk to the business people or future business people about the new act and how it will change the complexion of the province. Thank you.
Good morning, Celine Disipo Belot from DSBD, the Economic Research Directorate. Today's visit particularly to share insights on the township economy. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tina Mamba. I'm an intern in DSBD under Economic Research.
Jansen Abraham, I'm also from DSBD. We are also keeping our colleagues informed about how the economy is performing in terms of the GDP and in terms of the unemployment rate. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tony Solibenia. I'm from DSBD under Economic Research. Thank you.
Thank you, Odette. The discussions are so robust. It actually feels funny for me to stand here and have to welcome my colleagues from National. It actually feels like I'm doing something wrong. But nonetheless, as a province, I'd like to first and foremost thank our colleagues from National for coming down to the province and to have this very important engagement. The discussions alone are actually attesting to how important and how crucial it is for us to have such an engagement. I think we all agree that the township economy is very important and the role that it plays. Today's engagement is about us as a province taking a collaborative approach and giving our colleagues from National homework to go back home with. We want them to come back and they can give us answers on the homework that we'll be giving them today. So I want us all to take this as a collective effort. We give them the homework, they go and do what they need to do, and then hopefully they will come back and share with us the policy document so that we can see as a province that our inputs into the document have been taken into account. So today's engagements give us an opportunity to have our voices heard and to also own up to the policy. So it is our collective duty to change our township landscape, and today's engagements give us that opportunity. So with those few words, colleagues, I would like to say from the province, welcome, and to you in the House and our colleagues on the platform, let's make the engagements as robust as possible. I thank you.
But you will also hear, and I got very excited when I realized who's in the room, because we need to learn from your experiences. What works, what doesn't work, what is required, what are the needs. This is a policy dialogue. We always say we use different horses for different courses. So this is a policy dialogue. This is why we need your information. I was excited when I was hearing that there's research experts on townships in the Free State. We need that research. We need to do evidence-based policy making. We want to make something. We can't continue. We're 30 years into a new democracy and our townships are suffering. Something is wrong. We need to fix that, and we can't fix it on our own. So we take the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So we are here to learn from you. What are your experiences, and also to clarify roles and responsibilities. Because as a national department, from a national side, we don't have township policies, and we know that most provinces are far advanced in that area. But we don't want to play catch-up because we've got a different role. But we want to come and we want to provide that clarity. From a policy, once you've got the policy in place, then you decide, do we need legislation? Or do we just need regulatory interventions? And what is going to be the programs? We're also the drivers of NIST, the National Integrated Small Enterprise Development Framework for Enterprise Development, which was proclaimed as the National Strategy for Small Business Development. So NIST is anchored in legislation. So we've got that backing from legislation in it. Where we say that we don't do things alone. We say we need to have better data that we develop our policies on. Our policies, Cabinet approved a framework that the Cabinet said we co-create. So we can't sit in national government, in our little ivory towers, and then develop policies that we think that should be implemented. We co-create. We also bring the private sector involved, and that is why I'm so excited to see that there are representative bodies like NAFBOC here, and well represented. We need you. You need to walk this path with us, and you need your inputs. For us to be successful, we need you. We can't do this without you. We can't do it without the entrepreneurs. We can't do it without the small enterprises. We can't do it without the metros. We can't do it without the municipalities. We need cocktail, we need LED, we need all of this. And we are here to hear from you what is required. We will come up with a draft legislation, and then we will do continuously to do the consultations. We will also go to community halls and talk to the broader SMEs out there. But this is not a complaint session. I've submitted my complaint, my application with CIFA, and I haven't received my loan. We know that. We are here to find out what must we do differently. And we are going to do CIFA differently. Remember, the act was proclaimed, and we are going to have CETFA. So we listened to you. We are earnestly and honestly here to listen and to learn from you what needs to come. So please, we need your active participation, because without you, we're not going to go far. And we want to go far, and we want to make a difference. Thank you.
So what we are conducting as a department currently is trying to actually ascertain and assess the concept document. We want to validate the problem statement, but we also want to agree on the actual root cause of the problems. And so for us to do that, we'll take a bit of a walk through the actual concept document. You can just go through the slides for that. I doubt the audience can really see the screen, so I'll just be a bit succinct in my presentation. So we'll just go through the concept document, and through the exercise of the policy dialogue in these 2 days, we will validate the concept document. In other words, we will assess and agree on the actual root causes of challenges. Legacy challenges plaguing townships or township economic development, but also the actual theory of change is something that we need to drive towards in terms of now, how do we reformulate current initiatives taking place in township support and development to ensure that we actually address the needs of small enterprises within those specific localities. You can jump, oh, you're still on the first slide, sorry. And I'm following through my own presentation. However, the current status, and I think the one glaring example that I recall quite recently was that in response of COVID-19, the Department of Small Business Development, when it formulated its own response to economic reconstruction and recovery plan, we noted that programs provincially were actually similar to what we were initiating. However, they were not necessarily supplementary towards each other. They were at times a bit competitive as well. So you find that there still is those historical challenges within government that actually are leading us to be uncoordinated and a bit duplicative in our efforts. But also we find that based on the fact that we are formulating initiatives to support township development, our resources are not leveraged. So as a national department, we formulate a program to address local needs, but also the local economic development function within municipalities as well as the province. They also have their own initiatives. However, they're not talking parallel to each other. They're not necessarily leveraging to South Africa. So you've got a global context. You go to UK, there are townships and there is a definition for township. You go to the United States, there's actually a definition for what a township is. But when we reflect to South Africa's context, we are reminded of the fact that townships were actually designed as dormitories where there is cheap labor, where there was economic activity and commercial nodes within the country. So you have commercial nodes, you have towns, you have cities, you have secondary, primary cities where economic activity was taking place. But townships were actually designed as dormitories for cheap labor, for people to actually take their labor to these economic nodes.
I just choose to remain seated. I think it's important for us, especially because now I'm speaking as a stakeholder and employee also of the state, that when we have these spaces, we declare them as safe spaces, because some of what will be said is controversial and compromising for some of us. So we have to declare the space first as a safe space, because there are a lot of, how can I say, maybe agitating issues which we can raise as stakeholders, but you put yourself in a very uncomfortable position. So for true DSBD, we need to declare the space as a safe space. And one of the questions I had was, is the Mangaung municipality, except for Salga, but is the Mangaung municipality here? And also is the deeds office here? And also is SAPS here? And also is law enforcement here? And lastly, who else is missing? Who else do I think is missing? Oh, it's immigration. Are they here? Because we are in a space where
these are the major players, and what we are trying to do, these are the drivers for this objective. Thank you.
Seated. Yeah, but mine is not actually a question, but I just wanted to say with the presentation that the gentleman just finished, with the analysis that I picked up from what he was saying in terms of solution giving. All these institutions that are mandated to develop small businesses, as indicated, they are fragmented and they are doing the same thing, even though there might be a difference there and there. But the chunk of the money being used for administration, not for the intended purpose, it is futile. Because one of the former MEC of this DI said this thing in one of the events, that he directly said to the national deputy minister that there is a lack of funding. There is a lack of funding directed to that department. So if we say here, we come here and say there is funding for that, then we are misleading people. So we must be straight if they are funding or they are not funding. Or funding is only there to have meetings such as this ones, not really to develop people in their businesses. To the municipality, I think municipality, it's unfortunate that there's too much political instability in your area of space that you are operating. But as an administrator or the administrative of municipality, you must take a conscious decision to serve not the political interest, but to serve the interests of the people on the ground.
Yes, perhaps when I went through the document also, I think it's mentioned, but I think it's also something that we need to go deeper into when it comes to the legislation, and perhaps maybe say the compliance that is out of context when it comes to townships. Considering your minimum wage, at the moment I have something like 11 people that work with me. Imagine if I have to pay those people according to the minimum wage. That's over 50,000. So it's one of those things. And also when it comes to the municipality, I find them to be very, I don't know how to put it, but they would say if you want to operate, let's say, a tuck shop, they are very strict when it comes to permits of operating that, but when it goes to the foreigners, you find that these people don't even have permits. So, and also it will go into your SARS when it comes to your taxes. So a lot of admin work is very expensive for township businesses. So I think it's also something that we need to look into. Thank you.
On Township Economies, where they specifically address the issue of percentage of foreigners versus our own people. And then there's other I think there's that small business or something, there's a few legislations that came out recently that specifically address township economies. I just want, if I'm allowed, just perhaps give an input on the previous question and some of the other questions. One must bear in mind that some of the municipalities don't have the capacity to implement all these things. I was just reading something now, I think they said there's only 65 municipalities in South Africa that's really sustainable. The others are struggling. So what governments sometimes do is we dump all these things on municipalities and expect from them to perform, but they don't have the capacity. In the Free State, we're having a big challenge with enforcement on municipal level. We don't have police officers that can go out, even if there's a bylaw established on our tavern or whatever, we don't have people to go out and check whether they comply or not.
So that's why it's very important what the previous speaker said. It's not only us here that must be involved. The Department of Home Affairs must be there, SAPS, all those people, because if you have good relationships with them, they can assist the municipalities with enforcement. But yeah, my main thing was the alignment with other policies done.
Said here, we are reading out, coming from the sector, the industries and the colleagues. Maybe let's be honest here. I agree with you, my brother. You know, we somehow have to put a disclaimer here. Otherwise, we know. I'm coming from the premise of PPCP. Do you know what is PPCP? Public-private community partnerships, not public-private partnership. Because you can't do something for people without people. Now, I really applaud, as I'm saying, the industry in particular, from what they've said. But let me put it this way. I'm sorry I'm a little bit wrong. You are the document. You are the 87-page document. It's 87, right? Those who have read it. Including your references. It's roughly 34. The big challenge that I have with your documents, number one, I'm not saying that guys, you have done a good job. Let's start from there. You did not waste time. It's a thought-provoking premise. But let me show you something. I agree with that lady. Sorry, madam, I forgot her name. My name is Palo Disela Wanchanele. Who's going to be Palo Wanchanele? Palo Wanchanele. It must be very clear. The issue she's here, it's true what she said. You see, South Africa, it's not a complaining session. Yeah, it's not a complaining session. But we must get this thing right. If we are not brutally honest to each other, we will never get anything in this country working. Let's start from there. You see, when we look at the references, I went through the document, I checked the references, and I wanted to check where is our base. If the foundation is not correct, you will never get anything right. This country has been bleeding for the 30 years. I think you understood when I said PPCP. I'm the head of research in this province, in this Department of Agriculture, but at the same time I'm also a member of community. So I cannot pretend as if things are normal, whilst we know things are not normal. You see, these references that I hear mostly are home, which is good, but mostly so you find that they are coming from the west and the north. Nothing is referenced for this continent. And let me tell you why South Africa failed us, especially in this space. When we do policies, we like to borrow too much. I don't know if there's anybody in this house who was ever in Central African countries. I know some of you are also traveling. If you have been to one simple small country in this continent called Rwanda, if you have ever been there, and look how they've done that since change, this, what do you call it, the TC something, change what?
To stand in agreement with previous speakers, especially Grace, she said, we cannot talk of this policy unless we address the issues of foreigners, compliance, and the existence of malls and their effect to township economy. In-house, I'm not sure if we do have FDC. FDC, very good. Yeah, I think, especially in Free State, FDC is one of government agencies that plays a critical role in the development of townships, I can say, because we all depend, most of us, we depend on FDC in terms of getting space to work, being offices, factories, or retail stores. However, these factors affecting to that, or maybe funding, I'm not really sure. But myself, originally coming from Ghana, we've seen factories closing down over the past years. Every year, every 6 months, every 3 months, we see factories literally burning, and one can analyze and see what could be the effects or the factors that leads to the banning of such factories, not by community.
I also NYDA until my youth days are ended. I'm 42 years now. South Africa is good in analyzing, researching, coming up with good regulations, but no implementations. Like today, your ticket is running, but ours is still standing. You are going to get paid for being here, but we are not going to get paid. I hear speakers are saying this is not a complaint session. It's a complaint session. I want, when I live here as an entrepreneur, at least I know that it is a door that is unlocked for me to access funding. And that funding should not come with compliances that are very strict for me. There are two types of citizens in South Africa. It's these ones that are coming from outside South Africa with lots of money and everything is smooth for them. And it's us who are born here with nothing but crying and coming up with beautiful documentation. And lament, every now and then we lament because precisely we do not have financial assistance from the state. I've got my chairperson from RAFCOC in here. I normally tell him that I'm not going to participate in something that is not going to take me from where I am and put me here. In Botshabelo, we've got big companies, Supreme, we've got Mall, we've got Metro, we've got ShopRite, and so on and so on. Economy is coming in Botshabelo. But when you check, when you talk of local economy, we are only targeting this foreign, these small ones. We understand that is the precaution. I mean, that is when municipality and investment must focus on, so that at least it unlocks the opportunities for us, these small businesses, to go there and start their own. But this one was saying nothing. But when you talk of local,
about the legislation, the Township Act that is in process in the province. We have Mr. Openg. Let's give him a round of applause. Hey, you guys need more coffee or some. Then from Provincial Selga, Dela Pile Menkui. I'm saying it very wrong. Help me with your name. Dihapi. Please welcome Provincial Selga. Ma'am, you're teaching us something very important about the 12th official language. So at points when we don't want to clap, we can do the sign language clapping as well. That's allowed, so you're welcome to do that. From the Mangu Metro, Tatu, Kuatsi. There we go, please welcome. From the NAFCOC chamber is that Tsepo Matsapa. I'm very glad the Free State we have such easy names compared to Limpopo where it's I really have a challenge with, I try, but I'm terrible. Botshabelo Hub, Mr. Khabere Bula, our host, welcome. Let's welcome our host. There you go. Then let's kickstart the conversation. I'm going to be seated. I hope the cameras will capture your questions because you're also part of the panel discussion. So the first question to each of you as panel members. What have you done in townships? After that, I'll ask what's worked and what hasn't worked. But tell us and share with us, it's been 30 years of democracy. The government has done a lot. Good, bad, or ugly, but tell us in this province, what have you done in townships? This already is telling.
Thank you very much, moderator of the session. As indicated, I'm from the South African Local Government Association, so we work with municipalities. So in this context, it would mean that we support municipalities so that they can then be able to deliver services to their communities. But in particular, in my portfolio, what we have done in terms of supporting small businesses, we've actually started a program or an outreach program wherein we're going directly to the communities or the beneficiaries of the funding opportunities that are available for small businesses. And I think what is key is that I think it was also raised that at times we speak amongst ourselves and we actually do not get the information through to the people who are supposed to receive it. And maybe just from experience, I can just relay from here, from Botshabelo.
Director, as the department, since I think it's now almost 52 years, because there's a new act. All along, we have been operating of Act of 1971, business regulations. Now, as the department, we are proud to say, this year, March, 24th of March, there's a new act that called Integrated Business Support, Licensing and Regulations. And we are very much positive that with the partnership of the stakeholders that earlier on one speaker have raised to say, working together, we hope that definitely we achieve. Just to paint a picture, on my way coming down, I was just talking with one manager from SASA, just to try to find out, because most of the business that operate in our townships, they don't have license, proper license. Now this act of...
I'm the provincial chair of an organization called NAFCOC. Ordinarily, I like to make a disclaimer before I start. And that is to say, the Department of Small Business Development is where it is today because of NAFCOC. We created this department. And why we created this department was because the playing field was not level. And there was no conducive environment of doing business in the country. So we said, let us advocate for such a department to exist. Fortunately, the president heeded our call and the department was formalized. But then what happened, they never came back to us and consulted. Or why is it that we wanted this department to be in place? One of the reasons was that we wanted the department to level the playing field, to coordinate all the departments, so that we can streamline the focus into talking to the space of informal business. Because as things are, the playing field is not normal, it's not level, and the approaches are haphazard, and there is no coordinated approach into solving this thing we call Township Economy. Now, if I have to talk about what NAFCOC has done, I'll probably spend the whole day. Our primary mandate, one of them, is to advocate, mobilize, coordinate, support, and we have done that quite a bit.
And they still are a role player, and we can't take away the role of the municipality. So therefore, we live in hope you are going to get better and stronger and improve. But let's ask you, over the last couple of years, what have you done in townships? And pause there, then we'll reflect in the next round on what's the learning and what can be done better and how we go. I don't think it's a secret that there is a capacity problem and a political instability problem in the province, but that is on the horizon to be addressed. So let's hear from the Metro.
Thanks, Chairperson and colleagues. Firstly, what we did, we started first by regulating informal trading so that our people can be able to comply with the necessary regulations. And one other thing that we did with also partners, we have a memorandum of understanding with Chile as well as CAD to capacitate small businesses. We identify small businesses that need to be capacitated. Then those institutions are the ones who assist us to capacitate them. One other thing, we are also in the program of container parks. We are developing container parks. The first one that we did is in Bloemfontein Freedom Square. Then it was a successful story. Then we are rolling it out to other areas. Like currently we have targeted Tabanchu. From Tabanchu we'll be going to Botshabelo. Then we'll be going to other areas in Naledi. One other thing is that we are assisting our informal traders. We are exposing them to the developed market. Like when there is a show, during shows, expose, we take few of the products of our small traders to go and market their products.
From this year?
Thank you.
This is what we've done in the townships.
Yes. Well, our role is more of a support, we play a support role within the Destia SME value chain. So we provide support to trade and sector development in the endeavors that they do. So to put into context how we arrived at this point where it was shortly during the time of the Gauteng strategy where we were approached to say, what do we know about our townships and how do we apply practical strategies? So within our investigations within the townships, we've been able to tap into. So far, we've covered three districts. The first one was within Mangaung. So I think it's important to mention that some of the commonalities that do stick out. For instance, the retail sector really does stick out within Mangaung. I saw within our document over here, there's quite an even spread where I think the numbers were playing around at 23% within retail and construction. Within the three districts that we visited, being Mangaung, as well as most recently Kharib, we don't have those findings correlated just yet, but we were recently on the ground. But just from the surveys we distributed, we can clearly say that the retail sector within Mangaung is miles ahead. I think on the slide that I have, about 80% of the businesses were within the retail sector. The other sectors that do come out strongly was transport, as well as construction, and then tourism also came out very strongly. So these are sectors that are thriving on their own. Yes, and we could confirm a lot of the literature that within the townships, a lot of the businesses were initially started off of a needs base, off of a survival base. So now and then with going deeper into our investigation, we also wanted to look at the youth factor. And also, I think the most contentious issue with this was the role that foreigners played. What we found, now this is especially in Mangaung, we found that 50%, yes, there we go. South Africans, now when we're talking, if we look at Israeli there was a recent takeover, so there were a lot of South African owned enterprises. Now, especially when we talk about the touch-up industry, that one had been taken over. But when we come to the Free State, 53%, to Mangaung, when we come to Mangaung, 53% of the surveyed enterprises were South African. And a lot.
Thank you. Let's hear from Ahab.
Thanks so much for that, and greetings to everyone. Once again, my name is Fabele Mule. I'm responsible for the daily operations of this facility. I must say that also that you are in one of the best township hubs in the country. This is not coming from me, but it's what has been the feedback coming from other circles elsewhere. I think, in terms of being the last one to speak, I think the question was, what have we done? And we're only about 2 years old, and us being 2 years old, the focus was largely on beefing up capacity internally, ensuring that we've got the right people in the right positions. Number two, also ensure that we create the much needed awareness about what we do as a hub. So we have really tried our best to make sure that in the process, we also strike partnerships with key stakeholders. We're very strong as a team at the hub in terms of forging those partnerships, because we believe that as a center, we cannot operate in isolation. For us, that's very important. Also, we've been able to create a pool of incubators. Despite the funding constraints and many other challenges, but we've been able to have just over 50 incubators, and some of those are resident in the hub, others are incubated virtually. I think that with the advent of technology, we're able to incubate anyone almost everywhere in the country. We recently been crisscrossing the province as a hub. There was a time we spent about 4 to 6 weeks away from this facility, trying to create that awareness about what we do as a hub. And also this stems from the fact that we've received some funding from the EU, and thanks again to the EU, which then afforded us an opportunity to go and crisscross the province. We were able to target about 109 youth-owned businesses across all the 5 districts in the province. And out of that, you're looking at about, having about 60 to 70% of them being incubated, either virtually or some physically at the hub. And I'm also able to announce that out of the 109 participants, about 58 of those were female-owned, and that is something we've actually been making as a team in terms of attracting the female-owned entrepreneurs. So focus is more on getting the female entrepreneurs on board, and also we're still making in terms of getting your persons with disabilities. But it's something that's receiving attention. We're having a meeting next week with one of the centers around Tabanchu, which is Center for the Blind, so that we can see how best can we also partner with them and see if we can get entrepreneurs from that space. We have been, I don't know how much time I have, because if you don't stop me, please just indicate. I promise to, for the next 2 minutes or so, allow me to just talk about the passion that we have as a center about development. Internally, we have had also interns, just over 50 or so interns that are part of this particular entity. And of these interns, majority of those were then allocated to entrepreneurs within our incubation network as part of bringing in that extra capacity. Because we find that in the ICT space, it's very difficult for entrepreneurs to create jobs. And as a result, some of them are more of your one-man, one-woman type of a business. Therefore, they need an extra pair of hands. Now, we're fortunate enough to partner with one of the sitters. I won't necessarily mention their names, obviously to place some of these interns with the incubators. They were in various fields, from your cybersecurity, your marketing, digital marketing, HR, business management, etc. And that also gave us a platform really to empower the youngsters. And I'm able to also announce that out of that process, we're then able to recruit about 4 of those, of the cohort of the interns to be part of our team at the hub. So we're able to then create those jobs for them. We ran a survey, I think late 2022, ladies and gentlemen, where we wanted to establish the digital levels or literacy levels of our community here in Botshabelo. And out of that exercise, we had about 180 respondents. It was via Google form. Out of the 180 respondents, about 120 of those said they never interfaced with a computer before. There was never any interaction with a computer. It then prompted us to start, thinking out of the box to say, much as we want to incubate entrepreneurs, at the same time, let's go back to the community. Let's get them to come here and do the coding skills. We have at times weekly or bi-weekly programs where we train them on basic computer skills. That covers, just your normal office, products, and then also including email. We have been able to host students and youngsters also from the crashes, from the high schools, come here to interface with our facility in terms of the drones that we have, the 3D printing. We got a graduation ceremony quite recently of about 25 students who did 3D printing You'll have an opportunity tomorrow to see our facility. You'll see some of the designs that they came up with. I think I can talk until tomorrow, but in the main, this is who we are as a hub, and we had to take, questions and
I want to summarize what I'm hearing. Thank you. I think that is well-deserved applause. I'm hearing a strong emphasis and need to plow back.
Thanks, Chairperson. Your question is that what works or what does not work for township economy. I think the stats that we've just received from this year, it shows that most of the things are working at the township. They can work. It's just that we need skillful and capable people who can be able to organize the directorate, who will be able to assist our small businesses. I think if we can just work on that, it will assist a lot. Like the forums, Chamber of Commerce, if all those things can be resuscitated again, we'll be solving much of the problems ahead of us. I think that's the only thing that can assist us. Otherwise, one other things that we've identified during our programs is that our people prefer this fake goods or fake stuff, the one that are not even recommended by South African Bureau standard. You may find that I may open a shop. Immediately, if I buy products of high quality, our people don't come and buy. If you think of buying polish maybe for 5 rand, the other one is 22 rand. It's obvious that no, your people will opt for the cheaper stuff. I think that's the only thing that we should also enforce to ensure that we visit these foreign national shops to check the qualities of their product that they are selling, because it's where they are defeating our people, because they are selling products at such a very low prices. Otherwise, everything can work in our
Again, I think you make a fair point, because the whole, as he indicated with the stats, the survivalist element that exists in the townships is probably driving that market for fake goods, because when you have little, you can only do so much with the little you have, and you have to make those tough decisions. So once you can move from survivalist, we've got a big disagreement from you. I'll let you come back, because I know she has a point, you have a point. Let's hear from research in the hub, and as I said, I'll let you come back.
Thank you so much. I think the next thing is what happens when the business is not a survivalist and it's actually thriving. Now, the point of contention in this one is the infrastructure. And we like to talk about infrastructure as if it's a nice to have, but it's an absolute need if you're going to grow. And I'm going to connect this with something we've been hearing a lot more recently as well, is the blanket approach towards enterprises. So now we identify that some of these enterprises are on different levels, but the level of support that's available is very much standardized. So we're not really finding ways to customize and itemize the way we support. Another big thing that came out is spatial development. So we had to just throw that in there. So the spatial development, I think we can connect it with the infrastructure issue. And then another thing with the big retailers coming in, and I think it's been called a mall economy at some stage, with the corporate social responsibility. And I'm bringing this back to the challenge of infrastructure, because infrastructure needs to be...
I wanted to raise on the infrastructure question. There's infrastructure, which is critical. I think it's coming through and we'll see it in some of our work in the concept document. But services, because Mr. Kabelo, when we were planning here and coming, you said, okay, we may not have electricity on the day, we may not have water on the day, and I think to run and operate a business like the very busy popcorn maker next door, so that's the smell, by the way, they're making popcorn. I mean, they need their electricity, they will need water in case there's a fire, those kind of elements. So infrastructure and services coming together. And I wanted to ask on the spatial element in townships. I mean, you come to Botshabelo and you go to Bloemfontein, but from Bloemfontein you can go many ways. Whereas Botshabelo, you come to Botshabelo and you go to Bloemfontein. It was designed that way, it's closed, it's one way, it was for control. How do we break that? Is that part of the spatial element that you're referring to when you talk about spatial? I'll come back, so Mr. Muller, you can come in, then I'll let another round, a shorter round, and then I'll throw it open to the group. But when one's looking at townships, they were designed to be closed, one entrance, encased, and not to have all of the services and amenities. And of course, we need to change that if we're going to redevelop and change the townships.
Sure, thanks for that. I think just to touch briefly on the issue of infrastructure. Look, for as long as we do not fix our roads, we do not fix our sewer networks, we'll always have this problem where access to markets will be a problem for entrepreneurs. And a lot of our communities are left marginalized and are left behind because of that same problem of infrastructure. Also, you need to start thinking of an inclusive type of approach, especially when it comes to innovation, where I'm very strong in terms of saying to the team, let's continue to do more in terms of digital literacy, because we need to beef up that. I don't know if we have maybe CASA in the house, but maybe in the future we need to bring them on board. I know we've got different LSMs out there, but we're at a point where if we're to promote an increase on digital literacy, the issue of bringing in smartphones, which should be equivalent to your Jaharas, those who know what I mean by Jaharas. Because a lot of people can operate their phones, and they always say, all they want to do is to make a call, receive a message. But there are certain things that we can do with our smartphones. I mean, like today, some of you are able to scan the QR codes and access the program, access the concept document, and many other things that you can do with your phone. So the issue of digital technology also, or economy, needs to come in there, into the fold. What for me doesn't work is that we seem to be duplicating a lot of things. I think in the previous financial year, there was about 44 million that went towards establishing new incubators in the country. Already as things stand, I think we've got more than 120 or so incubators in terms of the incubator network in the country. Why must we then go and duplicate some of the services? What would work for me is the 44 million could have been channeled towards sustaining centers of this nature. I mean, to run a center of this magnitude, with the, I think until Laurent, if he's still here, I hope I'm in the safe space as well on it, because I can be very controversial. To be running a center of this magnitude for a mere million would not work. Now, at the end of the day, who suffers the most? Not us as personnel, but our very own stakeholders who are our clients, the entrepreneurs themselves. We're not even able to offer them quality mentorship services because of limited challenges in terms of funding. For me, that's a problem, that's a no-no. As it is also right now, in our townships, our libraries have actually collapsed. No access to the internet for our communities. We have this facility here. Matriculates come here and apply for NSFASs and university entrance and all that at no cost to them. That's why it exists as a hub. Now, let's look at establishing centers, not as big as this hub in particular, but let's look at establishing more digital centers in our townships, in our municipalities. So we need to have, currently our resources are not leveraged, unfortunately. But we need to do more. We are very fragmented as an ecosystem in the country. So let's do more to make sure that people have got access to our services. I wish to also bring to the fore that you've submitted quite a number of proposals, which I think would still work for our townships. One of them is around cell phone repairs. If we could get funding to do more and bring youngsters here, and also as part of reducing unemployment amongst our youth, let's train them on cell phone repairs, so that eventually they can also get to operate in that space. It's a fact, and we all know it, that market is currently foreign dominated, unfortunately. But we have youth in our townships that have got no access to these opportunities. So let's look into that space. I mean, the Masaba is here, and a few of his other colleagues. We used to run, weekly business seminars in this very same open foyer for our clients, which should range from, innovation, technology, manufacturing, everything else. Because also I want to bring in element of innovation in the various sectors. One of my colleagues here, Kekenezo, has also been very strong in terms of saying she goes to the salon, as an example, and spends almost the entire day in the salon, where she could have maybe gone onto an app to check if there's any open on a particular day, and then book herself, an appointment. Instead of having to go there in the morning at 9 and come back at 5 or 6, you can actually go there at 2 p.m. knowing that you've got a slot at about 2 p.m. So those are things that we need to start looking at. As I conclude, for me, it's not really scientific to be establishing all these new incubators. It would be very unfortunate if one day you want to come to Botshabelo and you find this facility to be a white elephant after you've invested so much in it. To expect a center of this magnitude to be self-sustaining within 2 years of its operation is grossly unfair, not only to us, but to the entrepreneurs, the stockholders themselves. Let me just pause there for now before I become more controversial. Thank you.
Yes, I see you moving us to another agenda, but it's fine. I wanted to pick up on your point of fragmentation, and we need to begin to weave together these fragmented bits, and where there are bits that are just not fitting and not appropriate anymore, they die their natural course or whatever. But where there's fragmentation and we can weave together and capitalize on what is there, that is something I'm hearing we must do more of, because there isn't the resources to keep doing new, keep doing more, keep going for, work with what we have to build on what we have. And then quite critical related to that, I'm hearing the message of partnerships.
To our local citizens, small businesses, the Salga role that it plays, because it's the upper authority from the municipal level. Number two, on speaker number 2, Ntatemane, he has mentioned that in Botshabelo they said 2 million per point Kisasa. It's fine. How are they going to ensure that law is enforced to see compliance is adhered to, especially from the foreign-owned shops? They must assist that.
All role players that are playing a role in economic development. Home affairs are playing a role in economic development because they issue the permits and then the foreigners opening the businesses.
Just remember to focus on what we should be doing.
Yes. So what we should be doing is to change that concept of working in silos. Because even your business chambers, there's various business chambers. Agricultural organizations, but each and everyone working in silos. Coming back to the business people, your guest house is working in silos. Because I can go to a guest house and it will be fully booked. They won't refer me, go to Mr. So-and-so. It's like, no, we're fully booked because they are afraid of competition because the next time you will go there. So my point is, in terms of cutting across from national departments, including business chambers, including our businesses in the townships, to get away from this thing working in silos. Let me give you another example. In the township, people received a tender, but they're specific companies too small.
To answer to the question that you're asking, maybe I must declare that I'm from the Department of Agriculture, and I'm hoping that I won't be stopped about what I have to say because I was invited here. Number one, I know management is a challenge, but I think our quest is if Molen can be availed. The reason why I'm saying this is from a racial perspective that all these desires that we have here, if people are not food secure, we can forget. We cannot flourish in any of those businesses. So more land to secure food security, that will be my take. Chair, the gentleman from the research mentioned the issue of corporate social responsibility. I think we must move away from that mentality that businesses owe us actually money for us to run businesses. Remember, CSI, it's by declaration of the board, and very often it's only 1% of the equity which is profit. So we really need to push ourselves, and I'm thankful that the gentleman just now spoke that we really need to push partnerships, collaborate, work more, and stop working silos. And maybe just an observation, I'm not sure if maybe Sanga was supposed to facilitate all of that. I would have expected that if we were talking to Township Economy Revitalisation, that perhaps Cocktail would have also been here. Remember, we have the principle of DDM right from the presidency. We've got the one plan. We also got the IGR. Luckily, I was part of the IGR with the MM, and I think the gentleman from the last would know. So these are the people that are supposed to be sitting here when you talk about Township Economy Revitalisation. Mainly for the reason that the gentleman from research mentioned the issue of spatial development. And the spatial development framework, currently it's been reviewed, it's underway. But it's surprising that the municipality managed to endorse 3. The first one is the aerial node, which is the Brancop. The second one is the aerial node, which is the airport cargo, which is now in the feasibility stage. The third one is industry. But no one is talking about anything about township economy. So that needs to be incorporated into the red. And hence I'm saying the one plan, the DTM Cocktail is supposed to be there to give a presentation that how are we actually quoting these people so that they are not left behind, or we're having this parallel session, because the mentality of the SLO that is talking about is exactly what we're doing now. I'm not sure in terms of the concept note what contribution, where is it going to be, where going, where, and exactly what impact is supposed to be carrying. I almost felt that NAFCOC's got a very clustered approach in terms of business support. But I was happy when I started talking when you talk about agriculture. Maybe just to share a bit of what we are doing as the department to support the communities. And you are right that when you mentioned, we've got our funerals and everything, why these people buy the animals and everything. It is everything that the department is doing from the grant allocation. Annually, it has become the departmental policy that we support all the communities. I know currently in Botshabelo we've got about 11 communities. And now we just completed Scottsdale, which is the other community on the way towards Diversdorp. I know we give them that 1.5 million. And in the key activities of what we're supporting, one is definitely to improve the livestock genetics. Bull supporting, we buy them bulls. We do cattle handling facilities so that they are able to those to follow the health and vaccine programs. Third one, also do the fencing, because remember there are certain values that animals cannot just be roaming around and everything. Do stop watering development, because now very often when you go there, you find that even if they could farm, number one, there are policies in agriculture
of businesses. When we say township economy, it's too broad. We have to have clear categorization of the different levels at which the businesses are. Because even in this room as we are seated, you've got a variety of businesses which are at different stages. And you can't have a one-size-fits-all approach to them. You have informal traders. The first speaker spoke about survivalist businesses, and I'm also of the view that we do have what we call subsistence entrepreneurship. I can even go further and say that even on the area of social crime.
I remember we had, obviously everyone was almost everyone was at home, and things were a bit expensive, and some of the people were not working, and bread was one of those things that people were buying a lot because children are at home. So the biggest problem that I realized at the time was that bread was very expensive. People were now looking at what they are buying, but unfortunately when it came to the bakery industry, they were not having it. They were not lowering their prices, considering the loss of employment, especially for the township. So it was at that time that I got this idea of offering quality bread at an affordable price for low-income earners. So that's everywhere you hear about bakers or boss bakers, or when you read about it, you will always get those words: quality bakery products at an affordable price for the low-income earners. We should never forget. I'm a businessman from Bloemfontein in Botshabelo, not Botshabelo.
I started my company in 2014, and it was difficult to work. Like as a black man, it's difficult to work on the automotive, because automotive is one of businesses that need expensive machines. So I'm in Township, started joining CEDA and DSBD, and I got a chance to attend a vocational training in Brazil with DSBD, and then NYDA, they gave me some tools so that I can start working on my workshop. And yeah, I started like that, but after 10 years, but if, like I'm saying, if you want to start a certain business, like automotive, I don't think it will be easy to just reopen a workshop and just work. But I think it will help us to have like an incubation center. If you can check on the municipality or government garages, those places, they are not using those places anymore. And challenges on mechanic and towing company business, it's a space to work. Because if you want to work with insurances and other companies or government or municipalities, you need to have at least 1.4 million. How can you start like business of an automotive, say that you want to start an automotive workshop without anything? Which means if you want to run a business, you need to have money before you run a business. So, like I said, if you can have incubation center here in Free State, like we can have incubation center here in Botshabelo, inside the premises of the Mangaung municipality. We can try to have another one in Bloemfontein because of some of the things that we need to check. It's
two of your biggest challenges as a business, and what did you do to overcome it that's unique to being in a township? You wouldn't get it if you go elsewhere, but two of your biggest challenges and what you did to overcome those challenges. And yours would be in context, obviously, of the incubation and as an incubator.
Yes. Okay. So it's very important for us to understand that with our socio-economic challenges, people enter businesses for a variety of reasons. But to cut it in short, maybe to focus on the main, you've got two main drivers. You've got what we call a push effect, and then you've got a pull effect. So a pull effect is more when somebody has the desire and has the willingness to start a business. A push effect is when external elements, this can be your socio-economic challenges. Maybe they have to feed a child, maybe they have to provide for the family. That is the push factor that leads them to starting a business. This is very important foundationally because this characterizes how the entrepreneur behaves in the space and also speaks to the survival of the business. So for us, we need to first inform entrepreneurs and we need to educate them in terms of the space they are getting into, because it's very simplistic to just take someone, especially from a township. I hold the philosophy that the average black child has got innate trauma, and then over all of that you just want to start a business. So for us to be able to respond to these challenges, we have to understand that foundation first. And what we do as a center, we have what we call a self-mastery program. It takes about 3 to 5 days. So during the self-mastery is, you are trying to get to know yourself, you are trying to get to know your triggers, and you are trying to get to know your strengths and weaknesses before we start talking about business, before we start dealing with the devil and all of those things. And once we've covered this foundation, we take each SMME at a subjective level in terms of understanding where they are and what they want to achieve. So it's very important for us to educate them. At the Motero Incubation Center, we hold the philosophy of a 60-40 approach to business building. That's one. We also hold the feedback approach to business building. This means that 60-40% means 60% of your time will be spent on learning. And this is not while you are in the incubator, this is post the incubation. 40% of your time will be spent on working. This is how you get ahead in today's world. The simple reason that we've got our phones and everything is happening on the phone, it's information. This is what drives the economy today. It's more valuable than gold today. That's why tech companies are leading today. It's information. So for you to lead and excel, we drive that philosophy of a 60-40 approach as one. And then secondly, the feedback loop. We teach people to build businesses based on feedback. And what you will get mostly in our township is that people tend to be offended when they are criticized and when they are given feedback by the clients. So we encourage this behavior. Feedback loop in simple terms means that you listen to your customer. The information that your customer is telling you, consider it as a brick and mortar. That information that your customer is giving you. And that cement and mortar, this is what you use to build a business, because essentially you are responding to their needs. So you must align what you are doing with what they are saying. So that's just to premise how we approach. You know, I was hoping maybe they could have said something that I could have responded to it, but when you say business challenges, this is how we build models, because most of the time the main challenge is not necessarily funding. If you say, and he's thinking of buying an ice cream machine or buying an extractor, because now in his store there's a lot of oil smell and it's hitting on the customers. And the question I asked him, which one would you buy first? Would you buy, he's already selling water and some of these things. Would you buy the ice cream machine first, or would you buy the extractor machine first? Strategically, I can put it to the room as well. Strategically, you buy the ice cream machine first because you are driving revenue. And buying the ice cream machine first will bring you a lot quicker to buying the extractor. So us being able to solve the right problems becomes a critical play as a business owner, which is what I would consider as a major challenge. SMMEs are solving problems, but they are not solving problems effectively. Elon Musk said that when he interviews people, the first question is, tell me about a problem you've solved. And solving a problem doesn't mean changing it into something else. It means getting rid of it. It's not there anymore, or it's slightly simple. So that's the main challenge. We tend to solve the wrong problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You said something, we are solving problems, but we are not solving them effectively. And I agree with you 100%, and it brings me to my first point. Sometimes, one thing that I've learned is that it's not always about money that we receive or funding that we receive. And the bad thing that an entrepreneur can get into, or the web that they can get themselves into, is always depending on funding. You have to move away from depending on funding, because it happens that you are now in a survival mode. You are waiting for the next funding, and it's really bad for business. And you get stuck on that stage when you are not effective in what you are doing. So I'm saying I agree with him, because I personally have suffered from that I would always be waiting for the next funding. I'm always waiting for that, until I saw that, hey, you know what, I'm now living I'm just eating from the government. I'm no longer growing at all, and it makes our businesses to be stagnant. And as SMEs, we are sometimes struggling, especially in the townships, to get this kind of support, we started operating in 2022, and I think the digital hub was just opening at that time. And all my applications and everything that I've done, even today, until today, I'm not saying anything bad about the facility here, but I will find that I still have to go to Bloemfontein to get things done. If I want to go to the Stia, I still have to go, except if Messelwan comes to my shop. I still have to go. Sometimes, yeah, I'll put in an application through here, but for the feedback, I still need to go to the head office. So this is the problem that we have, that a lot of these things are far from us. They are very far from us. This help that we get from the TVETs and all this non-financial support, sometimes they say there is a workshop and you have to travel for 5 days to Bloemfontein. I just did that, I think last week. No, it's not me, it's my employee. She did that for the whole week. She had to travel. It's money that is coming out of the business, because I am supposed to train her and I have to pay for that. So these facilities, they are very far from us. So if things are brought nearer to us, like this facility is very good. I can always walk here if I can find everything here. So if this place can become a one-stop shop, it could be a big opportunity for SMMEs in Botshabelo. And the other thing that I wanted also to mention when it comes to this place is compliance. Now, when it comes to compliance, and I'll go a bit further to say, I might come out as conflicting, because I would say compliance has become red tape for us, because we cannot get some of these fundings because of compliance, and we are advocating for compliance to be maybe lowered, please reduce the requirements and all that. But I also want to put it across to our entrepreneurs that sometimes compliance, because when I'm used to maybe applying with only my CIPC certificate,
I never saw even one workshop. Like maybe there is one or two that was working on an SAPS cars or government cars. We can't just come and load the cars from Botshabelo to Bloemfontein. Why? When you are going to the dealerships, most of the people that are working at the dealerships, they were from Botshabelo. Most of the people, engineering works, people from Botshabelo. But now, why can't we do our things? Instead of traveling, when I'm checking, there's people that are transporting like yellow fleet trucks to Bloemfontein. They are mechanics in Botshabelo. They are qualified people in those areas. Like, we need to check, because government, they said on the government, they need a lot of artisans. There are a lot of artisans here in Botshabelo. If you can search. And people that they were working at the Transnet, they are still sitting without doing nothing here in Botshabelo. So if we can try to do the incubation center here in Botshabelo, there will be work. And at least people, they will improve in terms of unemployment. So, yeah, that's it.
So, artisans and skills development within the township, as well as offering the service within the township, because the skills are here. I think that's some of the models we're hearing from the Western Cape, so it's a good proposal, and we'll see what comes as we consult further. So we've spoken about challenges.
Can I just address that part of the incubation? I think I missed that part. So earlier, colleagues, I mentioned that we've got about 114 public sector incubation centers. We've got other private sector incubation centers, but I don't have those numbers. So incubation centers across the country, they come in different forms and shapes. For example, here we are in an ICT hub. It's a digital hub. So it focuses on technology and so forth. The incubation center that I run, it's called a mixed manufacturing center. So the core focus there, we focus on mixed manufacturing, which would be welding, jewelry manufacturing, clothing manufacturing, and the likes. If you look more, I think it's in the KZN area, we've got a construction incubator, which primarily focuses on construction projects. And I haven't heard of one which speaks more specifically to motor mechanics, but my point is that they are not standardized, they are not all the same, the incubation spaces. So maybe
what has been 2 reasons for operating in, and benefits, good things, for operating in townships?
All right. I think the first one, we cannot deny that the masses are in the township. A lot of people are in the townships. And I think this is our advantage as entrepreneurs. And we should take this also as an advantage. Look at it as an advantage. I was talking to other entrepreneurs in the morning, and she was actually saying to me, hey, I've been looking for you. I want someone to mentor me. And I was saying to her, you know what? A lot of people are afraid to come to me and ask for help, simply because they think I will withhold information just because of their asking about my industry. And I was telling her that that is not the case. You will always have customers. There are a lot and a lot of customers. Being the only supplier or the only bakery in Botshabelo does not mean that I will thrive in my business. Business is not only about that. Business is more than that. And we need to learn that there are masses, there are people that are willing to spend. I was happy, I think it's 2 months back when the DSBD came and donated a lot. They actually bought equipment. And I saw some of them, and they were in the Samson Security Hall. And I saw some of them were actually bakery equipment. And here's the thing, and it's something that is working against us. And I did mention when I was sitting there that we are afraid to work together. Someone is afraid to come to me and ask me, why do you say your bread is 11 rands? And I saw the same people the following, I think 2 or 3 weeks later, they were selling bread and they were saying bread is 10 rand. And I was worried also. I was worried already because I know that your bread cannot be 10 rand. You will die young. So it's something that we ought to learn, that the township has a market. The township has a market. And yes, we are discouraged to replicate businesses, to always repeat one thing and one thing. But we also it becomes a challenge to us to also be innovative. If you are saying you are going to open a bakery and you see that I excel in bread, do something. There is a lot in bakery that you can always do, in manufacturing that you can always do. Or you can come and say, you know what, I see you are thriving in this. So how can I also operate under you? I was actually telling, there is a lady that does the same bakery outside, just inside the township. And I was saying to her, you know what, my distribution model is going to tap into your market. But I want you to be aware that I have moved from the level of selling bread from outside, or maybe selling bread that is not branded. So when I go into your area, just be sure that I'm not going to your market, because there is a market for people who are looking for bread that is unbranded. And there is also a market for people that are looking for branded bread. So do not be afraid when you see my guy delivering around you. I'm not going on your market. And if I have people that are looking for scamp bread in your area, I will always refer them to you. And that's what I do. I was with them. So there is business. There is actually business. It's not a good thing to say, or maybe to think that townships, because of their township, there is no money. There is always money, enough money to buy. So I think that's one thing that I would definitely put across, that there is a market for everyone. But you will always get challenges, like I mentioned in the earlier, that you will get challenges like a market that is conducive for you to operate in. You will always get closed doors, but be innovative as an entrepreneur. Be innovative, look for ways. And the one way, I think this is the last thing that I'll say. One way that I overcame that barrier of the township shopkeepers not wanting to buy my bread, I actually bought 5 tricycles that now deliver bread. They do a door-to-door delivery. So you just WhatsApp your delivery. You can WhatsApp one loaf, it's fine. They put in their order in the morning, they collect their bread, their buns, and they walk around, they drive around or they cycle around the township. So there is always a market, and you just have to be innovative. If you are doing a car wash, be innovative with your car wash. There are a lot of car washes. Be innovative. So there is a market in the townships, and I think there is still more people that can come in, whether it's in the bakery or the automotive sector, whatever sector, there is always a market for us.
Thank you. I think that's a good message, and the element of innovation is also useful. Benefits of being in the township, at least 2.
Okay. On the township, I was trying to get accreditation for the insurances. Because of the premises, you need to do this and do this, buy this machine. But at least I managed to get everything. But now I can work with cash customers and insurance customers, which means at least the business now is growing inside the township.
Working with cash customers, isn't it a security risk and a safety risk? Is it?
No.
There's always this thing, townships are
the township now is safe.
That's a benefit thing. The township is safe. Bloemfontein
other provinces. Because if you can go to Gauteng, there is a Roslyn, where there's small businesses on incubation centers. And then in KZN and Richards Bay, there is same thing, automotive. They are starting, I think, next month or in Eastern Cape. But like municipality of Nelson Mandela Bay, they were busy with the same thing of an automotive. Now, automotive is pushing because everyone's got car, trucks, and buses. Yes.
So the exposure and possible networking opportunities with others in your sector would make a big difference for what you do here in. Great, you capture that.
I honestly cannot overemphasize the need for non-financial support. And I say that because I think we've been operating for 2 years and 3 months now. And for the first 18, I was telling the other entrepreneurs in the morning that for the first 18 months, we were running at a loss. And not because there was no business, not that there was no market, but simply because of I was not equipped enough for the business. So and this taught me that business is not always about getting the funding. Funding is very good, and I will definitely say I'm a beneficiary of SIFA. I started everything because of SIFA and NYDA. So I will not take away anything from the financial support, the need for the financial support. But I also would want to encourage all the DFIs and all the funders, when you do funding, and like I said earlier, that the private sector does this best, is that they don't just give you money, they will give you someone to work with you. That someone, and I was also telling these entrepreneurs in the morning that I currently have 6 mentors, 1 business coach, and 1 business advisor. He's at the back there. And I know after this he's definitely going to critique me and tell me everything. And that's what I actually appreciate, because this non-financial support, an easiest thing like your costing is what killed almost killed me. That made us to run at a loss for over a year. So if I had someone who would be asking me, yes, I see that your rate is 8 rand. Why do you say it's 8 rand? Because it's easy when you, this is my first business, by the way. This is my first business. The last time I had business was in primary when I was selling peanuts. So this is my first business. And you make a lot of mistakes. And when I went into business, I was taking, well, we are right next to ShopRite, Cambridge and Spa. And I look at Cambridge and they say their bread is 8 rand. I say, okay, mine is 7 rand. And I'm just saying that out of the head. And there is no one to ask me, why do you say this? And why do you pay people this much? There is no one to ask me why. And I say, if you give me money, and this is what SIFA and I will always hold against them, is that they gave me money, and then the last email that I received was the proof of payment to the suppliers. And another email that I got was on the 5th month, when they reminded me that next month to help us, because this yoke is very heavy. We need someone to say on the way, you know what, let me help you a bit. Let me give you this, and this will help you. I remember when we started, I used to go to the workshops, and when you go into workshops, they will be talking about systems. And I was like, what are systems? And I'm sitting there, and I leave that place and not understanding anything. But if someone comes and say, and they talk about systems there, and I have a WhatsApp and say, you know what, they were talking about what are systems? And there was no one to do that. Yet there is money in the bank which the DFI has actually deposited in my account. So it's very, very important to have that post-funding support. It's very, very, we should never neglect that, because that's where many businesses, and sometimes we do spend money wastefully because there is no one who's looking at us. But if I know that there is someone who will be asking me why and what did you spend, what did you buy and why did you buy that thing, at least I will not be buying iPhones and all that. But if there is no one and I'm all by myself and I'm doing my own thing, I can buy whatever I want. So let there be that non-financial support. Let there be emphasis on that.
Thank you.
I think he's touching on some of the points that you raised about self-mastery, but you're targeting a very specific kind of non-financial support, which is more the mentoring and the hand-holding, as opposed to sending you on many training courses.
So the incubation program is about 3 years, and what normally happens is on the 3rd year, it takes them 3 years to start thinking like this. If I could get them like this, imagine how much further we'd go. No man, you're very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, so what has been the good reasons? Okay, for me, maybe I'll propose we should look at spatial planning. You know, normally every time I'm working in the inner city, and then you've got hawkers who are there. And when they are there, they are on the paving. And they've been on this paving for the last 30 years, and they're not going anywhere until someone decides to do something about it. So now the situation is, you can't walk on the paving anymore because the roof over. So now you are walking with the cars. So now it has gotten worse because after the paving, it's the parking. So now you can't walk here. You have to go next to it. So now the bus is passing. So now you are literally busy of it as well. And this is all about spatial planning, you know. If we've got centralized areas for storage facilities for our informal traders, we can charge them something. Then we give our consumers a better, fresher product. They are just trying to make a living. So in the township, what I've learned is that, and I don't know why 31 years, but the good news, ladies and gentlemen, is that it takes 30 years for transition. You'll see a lot of people are retiring, a lot of people are, it means Bajwa, it's another right? takes 30 years to change a generation. So in the township, there is no designated area which says this is a business area. This is what happens in our townships. They are converting sites which were demarcated for parks into business sites. So those are the sites, the car wash. That's how they get those car washes there. They are initially parks. So there's no site. In fact, when you think about it psychologically, it means that a person from a township, by design, this is by design, and I say by design because I was mentored by an architect. By design, it means a township is a place where you go and sleep. You look at what's functional, what you can do in the township. I always tell people that, and this is more on a light note, colleagues, that I think the reason why black men cheat is because which area in the township promotes family-orientated activities? And I'm talking, you understand Soweto, you understand Pretoria, I understand even the Durban areas. Which area in the township, Bloemfontein, also Soweto? And let's not talk about this box, where you can take your wife and your kids and go together as a family. All the places that a person can go to promote the trade. So the design plays a key role. You know, my mentor said that if you want to drive economic growth, you don't need to improve a lot of things. It was taken from what they did in New York. I think it's in the 70s. In New York, in the 70s, they had a challenge of crime. And the biggest driver for this was dilapidated building sites and broken windows and graffiti. So the mayor at the time decided that we're going to focus on these small things. We're going to fix the broken windows. We're going to charge people who are not taking care of their buildings. And we're going to we're going to paint the walls. So just infrastructure as a whole, make it conducive in the township for business. Demarcate sites for business. They've built, I think now, the 6th community since I've moved to Bloem. I moved in 1996. Grassland, Raceway, all of those areas. These are township areas. But none of those areas, there's a spot where they say this is a business site. It's a place where you sleep, and then somewhere where you sleep there's going to be a tavern. And then the one I hate the most, and I don't say this from a bad place, I also believe, and then there's a church. There's always a church. So we need to put, because now to pay the church you need money, let's put the things that bring the money, then you can pay the church. So let's put the sequence accordingly. And this is how planning is done now in the townships. There's no area where people are talking. We are talking about now, we want to improve the township economy. These people are selling things on pavements in the township. They are buying containers, but close their eyes and then put a container in the middle of nowhere and hope nobody comes. This is our township businesses. You know, and in closing, the very same people who are doing that have to deal with this foreign element, which comes in and says, this is how South Africa works. You pay. So what do you get? You get police bullying South Africans because South Africans are not shaken. They don't want to pay the police. So you see the foreign guys getting away with a lot of things. I think that they mentioned, where do these people get all of these compliance and compliance? They're not compliant, they are paying. Go to just next to Moberman in that area. The foreign businesses are excelling. The local businesses are struggling because any regulation that you skip, those law enforcement will come for you. And they will want that money from you. And if you don't decide to pay, they will show you, like we say as black people, with our bonds. Or not knowing that how bonds, I'm the person who's supposed to create a job for your child. And you are showing me. So we need to be more collective as each other and understand how this thing is interlinked. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to open it to the enterprises. So
For the day, today we've spent the time to listen to the Free State, to hear what you've done, to hear what's worked, what hasn't worked, where you've learned the lessons. Tomorrow we're going to take that information and see how to take that into the policy. A lot of the suggestions you've made don't even need a policy. It needs you to meet locally and make a decision and start moving and taking action. Some of the forums that you require, some of the spatial planning elements don't require a policy. Even some of the financial and non-financial support, it doesn't need to be in the policy. But what we're going to do tomorrow is take the different areas and give it more meat and detail so that we know from the Free State this is what we're taking into the policy response at a national level. So that will be the focus tomorrow. Tomorrow is more work. It's not a whole lot of presentation because I think we've exhausted the Free State input, and we'll start again tomorrow morning 9:30. We plan to finish by lunchtime. And we will focus on the appropriate policy responses informed by the work that you're doing from the Free State side. Any last comments or inputs before I close off the session? Panel, are you covered? Sorted? That thumbs up thing, remember I see you've got a hand. It's not a thumbs up, it's a hand.
Oh yes, I just wanted to add that for everyone who will want to be watching today's content, they need to visit Botshabelo Digital Hub's YouTube page. It will be there, and just hit the subscribe button.
Anyone else has a last comment before we close for today? Thank you very much for all your valuable inputs and insights. I'm sure Naledi's going to go home and tell stories about Botshabelo Bloemfontein. I told you it's her first time here, so she's getting to know the province. And we will see you tomorrow morning 9 to 9:30. We're only going to be working for the morning. So with that, I officially close today's session. And travel safely, and we'll see you in the morning. Thank you very much.
Wow.